I don't believe that any two people really truly think alike. And it's always very special to see how people approach each problem differently. Engineers, we often might get stuck in a rut thinking about the problem the same way, but all of a sudden you talk to an architect, you talk to an artist, and they're like, oh, did you think about this? And it seems kind of crazy at first, and then you start thinking about it a little bit, do a couple calculations, a little bit of analysis, and it's like, oh, that might actually, make sense.
Engineering is not just concrete and steel and a beam and a column. Engineering can be anything you can want it to be.
Art was not something that you expect that a structural engineer works on, right? Early on, I didn't realize how big of an impact the structural engineer could really be on artwork and the way that the artist perceives the work. There's a lot of thought, engineering thought, that goes into the artist making these really big picture decisions.
My working on this pavilion has been very much outside the box. Certainly not what I do on a daily basis. I'm much more of a desk jockey inside. What you're really sitting in right now is a large-scale rigid origami structure, which is comprised of a bunch of these flat panels. They're connected with stainless steel hinges. The geometry is pretty important because what it allows the shape to do is it has one singular mode of kinematic movement, creating a structure that's dynamic, that's moving, and that's intended to move under certain conditions and under human control. It's kind of a different take on what a structural engineer and an architecture firm can do.
Oftentimes we come up with a concept, we design it, we produce drawings for other people to build it, and we might also support that construction process along the way. In this type of project, we go all the way from our ideas to design to doing it ourselves with our own two hands.
When you have the opportunity to build with your own hands and think about the detail and the craft and how that carries over to how you draw that next line on your detail sketch is really important. So we think that as an engineer, architect, anybody, as you're designing, we should also be building.
Obviously, there are parts of art that need very little input from architecture or engineering. There are parts of engineering which can be engineered solely on their own basis without the input of architects, but the structures in the world that really have the greatest impact and kind of the longest impact are things where the three disciplines really had a lot to do with each other. Understanding that a beautiful structure in an engineering sense is also going to be a beautiful structure in an architecture sense.
Probably not something that people think of as what engineering is, and we think it's built differently, and we hope that people experience that.